Okay, namaskaram everyone. So we are continuing with the podcast. Saka, where did we leave off yesterday? Like I think you met Sadhguru. Sadhguru did a process with your daughter, and he said
Yes,
like
yes,
you just
yes,
follow her. That's what I
yes.
remember.
So I was telling you that. So when I had met him in Bombay, uh, before I came to the ashram, and I had met him in Bombay. So that time, one of the things he had said was, about my baby. He said, just give her to me. And I was still a new meditator at that time, and I was very shocked to hear this. And then he saw it, he saw the shock on my face, and then he said, he started laughing. He said, okay, if you can't do that, then you also come. And I took that also literally, and actually after that meeting I wrote a letter to Sadhguru. I wrote a long and very panicky letter, and I said, Sadhguru, like I was so, like I said that, I will do whatever you tell me to do, I can do, but I cannot leave and come. Like I have a family, I'm married, I cannot leave and come to the ashram. Like that's what I thought he meant when he said you also come. So when I met him in the ashram, so actually, after I had sent that letters, one of the meditators had told me that she was there when Sadhguru read the letter, and she said he read it and he started laughing. And so when I met him at the ashram, he actually referred to that, and he said that, what made you think that I wanted you to come to the ashram? He said, I know your situation, I know you can't come right now, that's not what I meant. So so then I asked him, Sadhguru, how should I bring her up? How should I bring my daughter up? So he said, you just follow her, because she is anyway going to come to me. So actually, after she was born, also I was never I was never very actively involved in volunteering. I used to do a little bit, like, sometimes I used to host teachers at home, and sometimes I would make a few calls, but I was never actively involved in anything. And one day suddenly, actually, it was, I just in a dream, I thought, I imagined, this was when my baby must have been like about a year or less than a year, actually, or maybe a little more than that. I just imagined myself that I am sitting in a, where initiation is happening, and where we do like all the cutting and chopping and everything, and I actually have her, my baby, with me, next to me. So I'm sitting with her, and I'm doing some volunteering, and then I started thinking, yeah, this is possible for me, because I was like, I really wanted to give back, but I was too busy with her all the time, and she was so small, I was very caught up with her. So, but I thought, this is possible for me, I can take her and go and do something. And actually, just within a few weeks of that, they decided to open up a center, which was, pretty much in my backyard. It was literally like, just 10 minutes from my home. And so they decided to open up a center there. And I remember the first inner engineering program that happened in that center. I did everything for that program. Like, in the sense, the teacher was staying with me. If you know the format of the inner engineering programs, I prepared the kanji for that program. I got all the vegetables. I washed all the vegetables. I washed all the whites. Everything for that program, like I did, and I was able to manage, because it was like, just so close to my house. So, so that's kind of how that's how my, like, really my volunteering journey started. And then later, once when Ma Kashyapi was staying with me, then she asked me if I wanted to take up, like, wanted to look at becoming a volunteer coordinator. Then I started doing that. And Anna, so the thing is, the people with whom I started, the very first people I encountered when I started volunteering, they were all extremely, even though they were coordinators and they were Isha meditators, but they were all extremely short-tempered and extremely short-tempered, and that those kind of people. And it was actually for me very stressful, volunteering with that lot of people. And so uh, I got to a point where I was volunteering very intensely, like like whenever a class would happen, and classes would happen almost every month and a half or 2 months. Whenever class would happen, I would go sit through the whole class. I was the volunteer coordinator, which meant arranging volunteers for everything, whenever they are needed during the class. Then, or the entire Sunday back end, I used to manage arranging all the materials, all the volunteers, everything. So then nurturing the participants after the class was over. So I was it was very, very intense and also very stressful because of this group of people who were there. But it got, after like few years of doing this, probably after 4 or 5 years of doing this, but at one point it got to a point, it was so stressful that I actually had one of my relapses. And that was the time when I was expecting my second child. And I got very, very scared because, I was expecting my child, and, I was having like, I was on the verge of having a relapse. So I completely stepped back. Like, I completely stepped back from all volunteering, and so, so after that happened, you know, and after that, um, once again, I got a chance to meet with Sadhguru for just a few minutes. So he was in Bombay, and he was driving from one place to another. So I got a chance to just be with him, accompany him on that drive, just for a very few minutes. So when I went to him, I was still full of these things only, that I have just had a relapse, and all I wanted to know was how can I handle myself, like how can I continue to do what I want to do without falling back, without having a relapse. So that was all that was there in my mind. So when I met him, the first thing, like the only thing I could think of asking him is that, Sadhguru, is there any way I can be fixed? And he shouted at me. he said, I am not here to fix people. I am here to liberate people. And that was it. I didn't know what to say after that. I didn't even open my mouth after that for quite some time. Then he asked me. He said, "Are you ready to take the next step?" So I didn't know what he was talking about. So I just said, "Yes, Sadhguru." And then I just asked him this. I said, "Sadhguru, like whenever I try to become involved with something and become intense," he said, I said that I keep cracking up. Like, what do I do about this? So he told me, "You just give your mind to me." So I said, Sadhguru, what does that mean? How do I do that? So he didn't say anything. He just repeated, just give your mind to me. And that was where, that conversation ended. And actually, Anna, I came out of that meeting very, very frustrated because I was looking for something. I was looking that, he would give me some mantra, some practice, something I could do to, to solve this problem once and for all, that, I get out of this mold of constantly having relapses every time I try and do something. So, and all he said was, just give your mind to me, which I didn't even understand what that meant. But the thing is, when I look back, no, Anna, after that meeting, I have almost never fallen ill. He just took it away. I didn't understand. I didn't even thank him in my head. I wasn't even grateful to him. I just came away from that meeting like frustrated. But he just took it away. Just took the whole thing away. Like, after that, I have almost never fallen ill. So that's pretty much what there is to my story, Anna. It's like I just penned a few lines on Guru Purnima. Like I just said that, everything I have that is worth having is because of you. Everything I know that is worth knowing is because of you. This breath and this being forever will be an offering at your lotus feet. So Anna, it's like actually even later, even with my son, I have seen how his grace has worked. Actually, with my son also, I didn't even realize when and how he happened, because after all these complications I had with my elder child, I never even wanted a second child, though I did initially, but after all this I didn't even want. So I don't even know how he happened. And actually, he was in my womb when I went for the Linga Bhairavi temple consecration.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't even know it. If I had known, maybe I would not have even gone for the consecration, because there were like 5,000 people there. And if I had known that I was expecting, I might not even have gone. So I didn't even know. But he was there in my womb. And so I still remember, like, when some of the very intense processes were happening, I was making a kind of a sound, a kind of a, I didn't realize what it was then, but later when I looked back, I thought it was really almost like a baby's cry. That sound that I was making, it was almost like a baby's cry. So, this boy, he has experienced consecration, like right in my womb, he has experienced consecration. So, and even with him, I feel Sadhguru's grace is there so much with him, because, once this happened a couple of years back, uh, he, um he was unwell, and he was having some kind of stomach pain. And I have the Devi Yantra at my house, and it was around Purnima time. So I had actually invited many people to experience the Devi process. And I was busy with those preparations, and I was actually not paying so much attention to him. But he was unwell, and he had some kind of stomach ache. And we thought, it is just some gastroenteritis or whatever. And, I was not, he didn't even seem to be in too much pain or anything. But after, it just continued beyond 2-3 days. Then his doctor said, you better get him to the hospital. Let me take a look. And when I took him to the hospital, then the doctor said that get an ultrasound done. So I was a little worried, but then I said, okay. I went, I took him, I got an ultrasound done. And then the doctor said, he has appendicitis, he needs immediate surgery. And that day itself he had to be operated. And it was in such a state that, if it had been one more day, that appendix could actually have burst. And it could have been like a very, very critical situation. And this boy gave me no indication. Usually appendicitis is a very painful condition, like you cannot miss it. The person, like people with appendicitis are just crying out in pain. You cannot miss it. But this boy, he has a very huge tolerance for pain or whatever. Never gave me any indication that he was so unwell. And it was just grace that just in time it was caught, and he was operated, and that was his first brush with something serious. Then another time, when he was coming back from school, so usually my maid goes to pick him up from the bus stop and get him home, because the bus stops at a place which is like slightly like further away from our house. Almost it is almost like a 7-8 minute walk, and you have to cross a road and everything. So my maid goes to pick him up. So one day when she was getting him back, my boy is very sensitive to bad smells and everything. So there was some garbage or something on the road. So he didn't want to walk on that side of the road. So he just jerked, himself, and dashed across the road to go to the other side of the road. And there was a car coming from that side. There was a head-on collision, Anna. Or I think it was like he hit the side of the car or something like that. But there was a full-blown collision, because this guy was running full tilt and the car was coming full tilt, and there was a collision. But there was not even one scratch on him. Like, not one scratch, not one broken bone, nothing. So there are so many such incidents where I feel that His grace is like just keeping an eye on us, like it's just there. So that's really all, Anna, to my story.
Thank you so much, Akka. Like, I don't have anything much more to ask, but where would the listeners would love to email you or something like that? So is there somewhere they can?
Sorry, Anna.
The listeners the listeners might want to email you or send you a message. So is there some place where they can?
Yes, Anna. I will be more than happy, Anna, and I'm like so actually grateful to you for giving me this opportunity to share, because this autoimmune disorder that I had, it is very common nowadays, and it often hits people when they are young, when they are still in college, or it is very common that it hits at that age, and it often comes as a very big shock, like almost like a death sentence, because it is something for which there is no cure, and it is like it can hugely restrict your lifestyle. So I know like so many people with this condition who are living like very restricted lifestyles, and often unwell, often in pain, often. So to know that there is a way out, that there is some way out, that there is some way, because this problem originates in the head. So to know that there is some way of reaching there and fixing it, I think, like I hope it can be like a message of hope for other people who are in this condition. So that's really why I wanted to do this, Anna. So I'm very, very grateful to you.
So Akka, your email ID, can I link it in the description? If
yes, Anna, definitely. It's Usha@gmail.com.
Oh, Usha@gmail.com. Okay. Okay. It's been a great pleasure for me. Thank you so much.
Anna, thank you so much, Anna. Thank you.